basketball fans, it's me, DC, here for Fantasy Basketball Analyzer to help you get ready for Week 13 of the NBA season. I should note at the top, I am pre-recording this right now because I'm going on the road to try and check out some more arenas in a family trip. I'm going on a family trip and have turned it into checking out some more arenas while I'm along the way. So we're going to break down the Week 13 schedule. I'm probably not getting into too much waiver talk. We'll touch on it a little bit, but I am ahead of time. So I'll give you the schedule, but if there's exciting injuries, not exciting because we're never excited for someone to get hurt, but big shakeups that would change some lineups, I may not know about it because you're in the future and I'm recording this in the past. Let's get into it. Here's the Week 13 pace and defensive efficiency, although it's really the same as the Week 12 because there's only been a couple of games here, so nothing has shifted yet. Luckily, we're halfway through the season, so we're not going to see as major moves anyway. Let's go ahead and take it and apply it to the Week 13 schedule, which is kind of interesting. I warned you last week that Brooklyn only has 2 games. This one is a little more balanced. Last week was really 4 games heavy in Week 12. We've got 16 teams with 3 games and then 13 teams with 4 games. So you can kind of go either way. Obviously, we always prefer 4 games. Take a look right now. I don't want to forget to mention it. The big glaring red thing on the other side for next week. Chicago and Detroit. They play in Paris. Unique experience for the NBA. So they each only have 1 game. If you've got Pistons and Bulls and they're not a superstar, honestly, in your weekly lock leagues, you probably can't use them at all anyway. Sorry, Zach LaVine owners. But most of you who don't play weekly lock leagues, you can change it up and it'll be okay. But don't be picking up those Bulls and stuff. You may want to cut bait on Caruso when you get to the end of the week. Chicago does have the Golden State Warriors at the end of the week, and Detroit has the Knicks, so they both play on Sunday, but they won't help you out into the next week. So think about that when you're talking about streaming or the options you're going for. Beyond that, the schedule overall is pretty interesting just from a macro standpoint. Talking about basketball, take a look at Memphis. They played the Spurs twice, and Indiana. They got really sweet matchups all week. There's only 3 games, and they're not playing on the best volume days, but it's interesting. So they play the Spurs twice. Portland's got a back-to-back against Dallas, both at home. There's a few of these things throughout the week. We're going to move on to talking about the back-to-backs because I just kind of touched on that, but also let's mention that San Antonio only has 2 games next week. I got distracted by the big glaring only 1 games, but San Antonio and Orlando only have 2 games, which isn't great. Toronto's got 5 games, so it's looking good for you if Toronto can be healthy and reliable, although I guess for waiver wire, maybe it's better if you can scoop someone up if they aren't fully healthy, but I'm always rooting for players' health. Let's look at the back-to-backs now. So Memphis has the Spurs rolling in from this week, Week 12, because I'm releasing this early enough because I've pre-recorded this. Otherwise, Orlando's got the start of back-to-back. They're kind of spread out. It's not a big back-to-back heavy week. You can kind of see this. You got a couple options you can go with for the Tuesday, Wednesday, a couple options for Wednesday, Thursday. A few different things to look at here. I did mention that Portland and Dallas play each other back-to-back Saturday, Sunday. Same matchups. That can be interesting, a little pickup, because that's probably a pretty nice matchup. I mean, neither of them are great defense. In fact, Dallas is pretty low when we look at on the spectrum. Portland's been surprisingly plucky at defense, but that's still an interesting matchup. And I also like it when we get the 2 back together and people aren't moving to kind of see what happens, see if it repeats. It's just an interesting thought experiment. Well, you can't necessarily rely on that for what you're picking up. For the teams we worry about with back-to-back, Golden State just has one, the start of one at the end of the week, so they're probably okay. Brooklyn doesn't have any because they only have the 2 games. Boston does have a back-to-back. Some guys might be resting there. Rob Williams is already out right now. His status, they're ramping him up and stuff like that. It's really more about Horford when I mentioned that. New Orleans, no back-to-back, but we just got the news that Zion's going to be out for a couple of weeks. So unless BI is back and they're easing him back in, back-to-backs, we're probably not worried about New Orleans for a little bit with that. None of the Clippers, none of the Lakers. Well, the Lakers have one at the end of the week too, but none of the real trouble spots where we know someone's going to rest on a back-to-back are presenting themselves here. Unless, I guess, Bane still misses for Memphis if they're still easing him back in. This is the second of a back-to-back, and it's against the Spurs, so it seems likely he might rest there on Monday. Now to streaming, what we're all really here for. I almost missed that catch. It's actually a pretty interesting week. Right now, before I get into any more of it, since I'm releasing this video on Friday, I believe, go look and see if there's a Boston player you want. Boston already had a great schedule in Week 12. Saturday, they play the Spurs, which is a nice matchup. You could still get that if you're watching this in time. Look at this next week. Chicago, Pelicans, Brooklyn, Charlotte. Those are pretty nice matchups, and they're playing on good days. I jumped ahead. I got excited about wanting to say that at the top in case you left from me breaking it all down. Let's look at the bottom of the week. You basically stream any day this week, which is pretty interesting. Monday, there's 6. Tuesday, there's 7. Wednesday's 8, so it's right on that cusp. Thursday 6, Friday 9, little bit over, more than half the league is definitely playing. Saturday 7, and Sunday's 8. So none of these crazy 10, 12 game days like we've been having in prior weeks. Monday and Thursday are the highest value days. There's only 6. That's why they're in the darker gold. Remember, the link is always down below if you need to see this later. Obviously, the video is posted. You can always come back. I'll take the extra views for the 0.001111 of a penny or something fractional. Probably more zeros, less ones, to be honest. But that's neither here nor there. So Boston's got a really good schedule because they have 2 matchups on the lowest days, right? And they had a good week 12 schedule. That's why I got excited about that. If Boston's not number 1, then look at the Bucks. They get the Knicks and Miami on the lowest volume days. Miami can be a little hard for matchups. They can really drag down some pace. But they play Knicks, Atlanta, Miami, Miami. Oh, in fact, Bucks play Miami. I forgot. That's part of why I'm not going to be here. I'm going to go to one of those games. So maybe rather than Portland's good schedule, I should be dressed for the occasion. Is that better? Not exactly. I mean, Milwaukee's got the better schedule than Miami, but I'm going to Miami. The Miami bags are packed. My kids don't know where I'm going unless they hear me recording this anyway. Anyway, the Bucks and Boston have the 2 lowest volume days, and you still get a 4-game week. So 3 are on good streaming days, almost 4, because that other game they have that Wednesday, there's only 8 games. I think those are both valuable. Otherwise, I'm looking at Dallas, Philly, Portland. So Portland's got 3 games, but they're in the middle of the week here if you look at it. So they don't get one of the 6s, but they get the 7s. So you can get right there in the middle of the week. Philly's got the same thing. They've also, both these teams are getting that back-to-back to end the week, the Saturday, Sunday. So even though it's 8 games, you do get that little extra oomph if you pick someone up at the end of the week. And Dallas, I already talked about, they're playing Portland in that same back-to-back. They've got the Clippers and Lakers in the middle of the week. So I don't like those matchups as much, but schedule-wise, those are all pretty good. If you were looking for a start-of-week punch, something you're trying to do right now, so because I'm recording this and it's still week 12, Orlando will play Golden State on Saturday, and then they get the back-to-back Monday, Tuesday. So if you scoop up someone from Orlando right now, you can get 3 games in 4 nights, and then try to switch to one of these other situations I'm talking about. Grab someone from Boston, grab someone from the Bucks, and you'll be able to get 3 more games out of this week. After that, and kind of combine into a 5-game week if there's some good pickups for you there. As I said at the top of the show, I can't go too hard on the waiver wires because I don't know what's switching here. I talked about a lot of teams. There's going to be a lot of options depending on your waiver wire. But the news did come out. Zion's going to be out. Hamstring, which is unfortunate. I'm happy that I did get to just see him on my birthday back on the 28th. It was a really good game. Set his career high in points. So with Zion out, if Trey Murphy's still available, I definitely think he already should have been rostered in most leagues. Scoop him up. He was already starting. I'm not expecting more minutes, but it just kind of extends the timeline where he was a valuable streamer and now he might just be core to this team that's never getting all 3 of their key guys healthy. It's a fun team. It's really deep. And with that, Najee Marshall, I think, is the most interesting pickup. He's going to play more power forward. He's done well. You can look at the games where Zion was out. Zion was out for about 3 games just before he came back for that game on 28th. You can see what happened with the extra minutes. He was pretty productive. I like Larry Nance, but Larry Nance is a center. Will he play some more minutes? Sure, but he's been hurt anyway. I think Larry Nance is the better center to actually pair with Zion, especially when closing. But if Zion's not there, does that actually mean they use him more? I'm not sure. Maybe he'll get some extra more minutes, but long term, I think he's part of their closing 5, which is a little different thing. I'm not going to hate on Nance, though. He's a fun player, and I think he's good for fantasy. If you're looking for some other guard options, not really to injury, I would give Tim Hardaway a look. As of recording right now, he's 53% rostered, so he's available in about half of leagues. He's been playing well, though. When he gets hot, he can be really valuable. 21 points, 14 points, 18 points, 5 threes, 2 threes, 3 threes. He's contributing there. He'll give you a little rebounds. It's not as valuable in category leagues as points league. And Javon Carter. The Bucks have a good schedule here. The exception being that I am a little down when teams do play Miami, but he plays well for the Bucks. As long as he's getting these extra minutes, it can be solid, and it's a good schedule. So if you get 10, 8, and 5 out of him, and he's playing on the right days, that can be helpful. But it's a good week for streaming. Take the best player available, and if it's not working, you can go ahead and flip it, because as long as you have the moves, there's a lot of options. Come on back, leave your questions, comments down below. I will be out of touch, so I might not be as available on Twitter, but you can always give it a shot. Hit me up at bballanalyzer. Thank you so much for watching. Go out and win your week. Thank you so much for watching. If you've made it this far, please hit the like button and leave a comment down below. It helps me grow the channel. If you want more videos like this, hit subscribe or even the little bell will give you alerts. And I'll be back soon with another video for you.